12 years ago, I went to Tel Aviv University to interview people about the Israeli-Palestinian situation. The students there from across the communities, including Israeli Jews and Israeli Arabs. I approached a man in his late 30s and asked to film a short interview. He refused to be filmed or recorded, but agreed to speak off the record. I will call him Yusuf. Yusuf was doing his PhD in Islamic Studies at Tel Aviv University and lived inside Israel, was an Israeli Arab Muslim citizen, and as of 2020, there were around 1.6 million Arab Israeli citizens in Israel. I asked him why he did not want to be filmed, and he responded with his story, which has changed the way I see not just the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but all conflict to some degree. Yusuf spent his 20s wandering around cafes in Arab towns, suggesting to his brothers and sisters that it is not the Jews that are the enemy, it's the industrialists who are using the Jews and Arabs, gaming the situation to their advantage. After many years, he got a knock at his door. Two men who claimed that they were from the Israeli Secret Service warned him to stop, or he was going to be in big trouble. Of course, he couldn't know if they were from the Secret Service or any other group, but he took the threat seriously and fled the country for several years. Since his return, he never speaks to his friends and family about this idea. So when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, one has to ask who benefits and how. I do not have enough information or knowledge to be able to answer that question in any meaningful way, but I can make some suggestions which help me avoid getting drawn into the arguments and the blame game. At the highest level, one could say that the system itself benefits, and most of us are entangled in that system, so most of us benefit from it too, without necessarily knowing it. The two obvious sectors of the military-industrial complex that benefit are the media and arms industries. The media, which is now on steroids, is built with algorithms that create bubbles and echo chambers around any issue so as to keep users on a particular platform. The more juicy a conflict is, the more people get excited about taking sides, the more engagement on social media, and the more ad revenue. And of course, the more conflict, the more arms are sold. There are, of course, other people who benefit politically from conflict too, but the problem is that the majority of people who are currently taking sides and pointing the finger are themselves playing into the hands of the system by spending time on social media, which can often end up destroying them. Many of them, including myself, have pensions which are partially invested in every media and tech company and the arms companies. So the system, without any specific people, promotes the best circumstances for ongoing conflict by enabling the most corrupt people in any society to rise to the top and lead their respective people to hell. The very idea that profit is made out of arms, for example, is a crazy detail of the system and is bound to lead to huge amounts of violence. So when we get sucked into social media around this or any other conflict, we are playing our part in financing the war. For me, the best thing I can do is to limit my exposure to social media, so at least I am not financing these conflicts in that way. Of course, posting this video on social media is adding to the problem in some sense, but perhaps a few of you watching will look at these conflicts now from a different perspective and realize that we are all being played by the system and we all partially benefit from the system, and that the Middle East conflict is bigger than the Jews, bigger than the Muslims, bigger than Netanyahu or Haniyeh, the Hamas leader, or Biden, or anyone else for that matter. The forces at play here are so large we cannot even get our heads around them. So what power do any of us have to change anything?